Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near.
We'll start off with his interview with Chris Cuomo. Because, Chris Cuomo, God, he used to be on CNN. I don't know if he's gotten any better since he left CNN, but he did like a 9-minute interview with Caleb on News Nation. So we saw what happened when CNN tried to interview Caleb and how Caleb basically just dumpstered on the guy from CNN trying to catch him in a gotcha. So let's see what happens with Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo is a more experienced journalist. So let's see how he can handle Caleb. No, it's not his son, it's his brother. Chris Cuomo is Andrew Cuomo's brother, not son.
I have an exclusive offer just for you, but there's only 1 week left to purchase. You'll get lifetime access to the entire Hammer Elite catalog and my Hammer for Life box packed with limited edition merch. Plus, I just launched the brand new Hammer Elite app available on every major platform. To celebrate the app launch, I'm offering 30% off the annual plan in the month of June only. Download the Hammer Elite app by using the link in the description or pinned comment down below. This is the best membership you'll ever join, and that's a promise.
I want to talk to you about Caleb Hammer, okay?
Hang on, it's a bit low. Hang on, let me up the volume for you a little bit. They're low quiet.
Why do millions of young adults turn to Caleb Hammer? He's the host of Financial Audit. I'll tell you why. Because he tells them the truth. Yeah. He is a mix of nasty and nice that can pain and entertain, but absolutely keeps it real. And as a result, you get a real feel for how the economy is affecting so many. Watch.
Credit card debt isn't even that bad.
Are you fucking stupid? What do you mean?
I don't like paying those, I'm gonna be honest.
Like?
Yeah.
Like? We get to choose what we like? There's gonna be no consequence.
How much do I get paid to have my bad political opinions? Quite handsomely. Thank you. I get paid quite handsomely by all of my chat. You got a problem with it? You're here. You're bumping my numbers. Thank you very much for that, by the way. And by the way, I'm not Russian. You're thinking of the other sometimes redhead Oana. She's Russian, not me. I'm American and Newsy. So that would be like quasi-Irish. So good effort. Good effort. Thank you, anonymous gifter. Thank you very much. Oh, bye, Russian bye. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, bye. Oh, I'm getting paid by Russia. Oh, yes, my son. Oh, yes, I got those Reds. I got those Reds paying me all the time, son. Oh, yes, bye. Don't you know, I just got off the phone with Vladimir. I just got off the phone with Vladimir, boy. Oh, he was right poison with me. Right poison with me. I wasn't gassing him up enough. I wasn't giving him enough of his due, and my son, he said he was gonna go tell my nan. He absolutely said he was gonna go tell my nan was gonna go take me over and give me a good old spanking. Oh, yes, bye. Oh, yes, bye. Fuck off. Thanks for the laugh, though.
It's because I don't like it.
Well, I'll just figure it out.
You know who hasn't just figured it out? People who get evicted. What's the normal minimum monthly payment, my dude?
$556.
Why are you f***ing this up? What's the interest rate on this?
24.1%.
No.
Yes.
Dude, the interest rate is higher than your literal age. Why are you laughing about that? They started garnishing your wages from this loan?
Yes.
You gave them access to your account?
Yeah.
You gave them access to your...
Oh, God, that was the girl that did I think she did the payday loans and was getting the shit garnished out of her wages. Oh, God, I remember. Oh.
Account? This isn't a government. They can't just garnish unless you give access.
Poor Caleb lost his shit with this.
Caleb Hammer joins me now. I celebrate your success because I love the mix. I want to talk to you about the state of play and what you see happening in the politics of our economy. But tell people, you're young yourself. What is your background, and what do you think got you to where you are?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And I noticed all the bleeps you had to do for national television, so I appreciate that. But, you know, like many Americans, I went into a ton of debt. Right when I turned 18, it's like the first thing you do. My parents said,
He's talked
max
about
out
this
a
before
credit
on the
card
show.
to get the piano I wanted because I wanted to go be a music major at school, which also means I should go borrow all the student loans in the world to be a music major at school, which also means I need to borrow a lot of money for a car to get to school, and then max out all the different credit cards I can open to pay for food while I'm at school. And then, of course, I borrowed from the family a little bit, got some Sallie Mae private student loans. So it was an absolute mess. And I just sat down one day and realized in my crappy little apartment that I could barely afford that this was not the life for me. I needed to figure out how to get out of it. I started consuming all the media I could on personal finances, all the books, listening to the experts. And I worked my way out of it. I got a sales job that paid $30,000 a year when I was like 24 or so. And I just grinded to the top of that sales team, bringing in six figures, all from learning how it works, paying off the debt, smallest to largest, saving up an emergency fund, putting a down payment down on a house, riding the COVID housing market, building a rental property portfolio, and accumulating $250,000 net worth before starting the show. And I thought, I want to have the conversation that I wish someone had with me when I was a dumb 18-year-old so that I can help these people get out of debt and actually change their lives and see the other side of that dark tunnel that I got.
Okay, can we just appreciate the fact that he had a net worth of, what did it say, a quarter? Did it say a quarter or $500,000? Hang on.
Accumulating $250,000 net worth before starting the show.
So even before he started financial audits, he had a net worth of $250,000 before he even started the show. Can you imagine, how much he has improved financially since starting the show? Holy crap. He is the poster, Caleb is the poster child for picking yourself up by your bootstraps. She really is the poster child for this. Yeah, and he did say he was successful for the show. Yeah, it wasn't that he was in sales and he grinded that, but then he started doing a rental property portfolio and stuff like that. He has talked about this on his show before, how he screwed up when he was a kid in terms of debt and dug himself out. And I was not aware of how successful he was before the show. I knew he was successful. I did not realize and appreciate just how successful he was able to become before the show even started. It's this is a guy, everybody that says, oh, it's too hard. Yeah, and guess what? It was hard for Caleb too. And he didn't come from a wealthy family. He did not have a ton of money backing him up. He literally did this all by grit and intelligence. And this is where basically using your gray matter can get you out of the situation if you just put in the effort. He is where he is because he put in the effort. So all these people in the show oh, it's so hard, I don't know how to get out of it, is because, quite frankly, a lot of them are lazy. A lot of them are lazy. They're not willing to do what needs to be done to get themselves out of the hole that they dug themselves. They're not willing to put in the effort and not willing to put in the work. That is predominantly what most of his guests' problem is. If they were willing to actually tighten their belt up on some things, put in the work to get themselves out of debt, put in the work to get themselves ahead, I would wager a lot of them could do it.
I thought, I want to have the conversation that I wish someone had with me when I was a dumb 18-year-old so that I can help these people get out of debt and actually change their lives and see the other side of that dark tunnel that I got to see myself.
Good for you.
And you know what? I can also relate to this too. I was in a similar situation to Caleb, where I was I had a bunch of debt. that I was in that dark place where I was barely scraping by. Sometimes I was having to only do partial payments on bills because I was making so little. And like I was in like not as bad as the people that are on his show, but I was in a place where I was at a low point that I could barely afford anything. And this was with me just literally going to work, working, coming home, and that's it. I did not even eat out a lot either. The only like when I was at this low point, I was only eating out like once a day. I would get a cup of coffee from like McDonald's on the way in. Maybe I'd get a sandwich, and then I would actually get like takeout for lunch when I was at work. And and otherwise it was go to work, come home, and that was it. I didn't go out. I didn't go spend money on anything. I only spent money on basically my groceries and my utilities. And it's otherwise, what do you mean once a day is rough? He'll prep say me. I know. And sometimes I did bring my own meals. I didn't do it every day. I did not eat out every day. I did bring my own meals. I would kind of try and like balance it and just bring in my own thing. I bring in like maybe I would like cook a pizza and then I'd cook a pizza and then wrap it up and bring it in and heat it up at work, or I'd make sandwiches, bring that in, or I'd make like craft dinner and then I'd bring a bowl of that and heat it up at work. Yeah, I didn't every day eat out at work. I would it was like half and half. But otherwise, like that was the majority of my quote unquote frivolous spending. The rest of my spending was on what was basically like groceries, gas, and all of my bills. And I was still struggling. I was seriously struggling to make it from month to month. I even went, the apartment that I got, I didn't like get an apartment that I could not afford. I basically looked for an apartment that I could afford. And, my options were limited in terms of like a decent apartment that wasn't like a rat hole and one that was like halfway decent and that I could afford. And I ended up being able to get the halfway decent one that I could afford, but I was still struggling. It was not until I started streaming, put my head down and put in the work to stream 5 hours a day, practically every day, 5, 6 days a week, and I put in the work for it, that I was able to start digging myself out of that barely scraping by and get to a point where not only was I comfortable, but I'm getting ahead. I can use my finances to do things for myself for once, do things to further my stream, but it took work. It took years. It took like what? I think I meant like 2 years of screening. It took about 2 years of work where not only streaming, but also working a day job, effectively speaking, working 2 jobs, 5, 6 days a week, working like 13, 14 hours a day and just grinding it up. And after like 2 years, I'm at a place where financially uncomfortable, where I can actually spend money on myself, where I can actually put money into the stream and it's not going to hurt me. I can actually consider getting a house. That's a whole different thing. But it took putting in the work. It took the discipline of keeping a solid streaming schedule on top of working minimum 8 hours a day. Typically speaking, like I wouldn't even work 8 hours a day. I typically work like 9 hours a day. That like on my day job. On my day job, I'm usually working 9 hours a day, plus editing videos while I'm at it. And then after I finish work, like shortly after I finish work, I'm jumping on stream to do the 5-hour stream. So but that's putting in the work. I'm not trying to be like boastful about it. I'm saying if you put in the work, if you put in the effort, it's gonna hurt at first. But if you put in this effort and you put in the work, you can get yourself out of this hole. You have to just be willing to do that. That's what I'm trying to say. You have to be willing to put in the work, to put in the effort, and grind it the fuck out. And don't give up after 2 months. don't give up after 3 months. Go, oh, I'm not seeing the results I want to see. I better just give up. No, you've got to actually, like, you've got to long haul this shit. And it's 9 hours with the paid lunch that is included in the 9 hours. I only get paid for 8.5, but I'm basically working 9 at least. At least 9. I've had days where I've had to work like 9.5. That's all I'm trying to say is if you put in the work and you stick with it, you can dig yourself out. No, I do not get paid for lunch. That's what I was saying. I work for 9 hours, but 30 minutes of it is unpaid lunch. But that's all I'm trying to impart is put in the effort, put your head down, do the grind. You can get out of the hole if you're willing to put in the effort and to make some sacrifices. You have to be willing to do that. Otherwise, you're never going to get out of it. Thank you, Grumpy. Thank you for the gifteds. Oops, shut up. Thank you very much.
Good for you for giving them the how-to. Help me with a generational perspective that is also an indictment of people on the left right now, which is you don't want to work. They don't want to do what you did. They don't want to grind it out. Do you believe that? Do you believe that this generation or any generation is anti-work, or do you think it's about the reflection of how they feel the system will enable or restrict any kind of advancement?
Curious what he's
I'd
gonna say.
for Gen Z specifically, we're seeing a couple things in the data and in the anecdotal examples on my show. I think they do want to work, but they don't really like the traditional 9 to 5. They
Yes.
see the
Okay, yes.
TikTokers, the YouTubers,
Yep.
the creators out there that have built their lives by making content, and the
Yep.
hustlers, and they consume that hustle content. I think they want to be their own business people. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to build something. That's hard.
It's not simply that they want to do that. I do want to offer a counterpoint to what Caleb is saying here. It's not that they want to do that, strictly speaking. It's that the TikTokers and the content creators that promote this kind of lifestyle make them think, oh yes, anyone can achieve this, which is untrue. When it comes to content creation, you cannot tell your audience, oh, anyone can do this. You can't do that because they make it look so they've achieved success, so they make it look easy, and they profess to their audiences that it is easy to do. It's not. It's not easy. You have to put in a significant amount of work to become successful, and I always say this, there is an element of luck. There absolutely, and that's why I do not bullshit you guys when I talk about when it comes to my success as a VTuber, as a streamer. I do not bullshit you guys and I tell you guys that luck absolutely is a factor, especially in content creation. I will always acknowledge that. I'm not going to go and beat my chest and say, yeah, I'm such a good fucking streamer. I achieved this because I'm such a badass streamer. No. I think I do well at what I do as a streamer. I'm not going to downplay myself. I do think, obviously, what I do is entertaining and you guys enjoy it. And that's why you guys keep coming back. That's why you guys support me. So I'm not going to downplay myself, but I refuse to ignore the fact that there is a significant part of luck that has made it possible for me and literally every other content creator on every single platform to be successful. It absolutely is a factor, and I will never say it's not. There is an element of being talented or being capable in terms of content creation that has people coming back, either through making entertaining videos, having good commentary, having insightful viewpoints. That's absolutely a factor. And apparently I have some decent insights and commentary and entertainment value. But there's always going to be luck. Does the algorithm hit just right to push your content to enough people that it can get them to, lock into your content, which can then boost you in the algorithm and so on and so forth. Yes, and of course, and shilling for Russia also helps apparently. This is a strat that I was unaware that I was doing in the first place, but apparently I'm shilling for Russia, and that has helped gain me such fantastic popularity in the streaming space. For Mother Russia, до свидания. But yeah, that is something that is not said in the content creation space enough, is that it is hard work and there is luck. I would say for every successful content creator, VTuber or otherwise, for every one successful content creator, there are probably at least 100 failures, minimum. This is just, I'm admittedly pulling a number out of my ass on this one, but I'd say every one success has at least 100 failures in the content creation space. Not everyone is going to be successful in content creation. That is just facts. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. When people like come to me and say, "Hey, I want to get into it," I want to get into streaming. This is why I always tell anybody that comes to me saying, "Hey, I want to get into, do you think I should get into content creation? Do you think I should get into streaming? Do you think I should get into video making?" It's why I always say, if it's what you want to do, go for it, but go into it strictly to have fun. Never, ever, ever go into content creation with the intention of making money and making it a career. That is the absolutely wrong thought process to go into content creation with. You go into it to have fun. This is for one of two reasons. Number one, so you still have a regular job, so you can still make money, and you don't just give up everything like some of these brain dead content creators have done, where they're just like, I'm getting in content creation, so I'm going to give up a successful job and just jump in cold into content creation. Keep your regular job, do your content creation for fun, so that way that way you're not relying upon it to live, for one. And number two, if you go into content creation strictly for the money, it's going to show. You are not going to make enjoyable content either via streaming or via videos. It will not, if you go into it strictly for money purposes, the audience will know. The audience will watch your stream, watch your content, and go, okay, there's no heart in this. They're literally just doing it for the money, and that's it. And people are just going to click off. They're not going to care. If you go into it because you want to enjoy it, because you want to have fun with it, because you have something you want to say, and you wanted to do a stream because you have things that you want to say about whatever, and you want a platform to be able to say these things, that's still good enough too. But you get into this for the purpose of heart, not money. And if you get your chances of being successful are better when you go into content creation with heart versus strictly financial reasons. It's not a guarantee, but it definitely will improve your chances of success when you do that.
To get into, unfortunately, compared to a 9-to-5, but they want to work. They just want to work their own way. Now, on the other side of things, a lot of Gen Z get stuck in this doom loop. What is the point of paying off student loans? What is the point of saving when I'm never going to be able to get a house? I'm never going to be able to save up an emergency fund, pay off the credit cards. What's the point? I may as well just go swipe and get that La Boo Boo. May as well go swipe and get that extra side of fries.
The dopamine hit. He's talking about like basically the Gen Zers, all they care about is the dopamine hit. That is what is most valuable to them. That is it in terms of their hierarchy of needs. You've got Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which can't remember, but I think his hierarchy of needs might have gotten debunked. I don't recall. But there's like in the hierarchy of needs, that dopamine hit is at the top of their hierarchy of needs. Instead of something like having a good job, being able to feed yourself, looking forward to the future. No, their hierarchy of needs up at the top is, I want that dopamine hit from buying that thing or getting the bigger fries or basically just engaging in what's the word? Like hedonism. It's a little bit of an extreme word, but basically hedonism is the top of is the top at their hierarchy of needs. Like if they need to basically take that, put that way down the fucking list, and put more responsible things up at the top of the list, like getting a good job so you can feed yourself, so you can put a roof over your head, so you can advance in your life. That needs to be much higher instead of the hedonism.
Delivered right to my house, I'm never going to get ahead. But that's not the reality. We do know for young generations, there are three main categories that have raised in prices. That is housing, buying a house specifically, cost of school, because we allow people to borrow infinitely for whatever degree they want, and then healthcare, which is a beyond complicated subject. Besides that, actually going out to eat, getting food delivered, getting groceries, and most anything else outside of those three categories have actually fallen as a percentage of household spending for this generation compared to previous generations. So it's not all bad, but there is a lot glaring that is scary, and it's not surprising that they feel pretty doomed about the future, so they may as well just swipe.
How do you break down? Well, first of all, you are.
And that part also is the brain rot of social media. Like he didn't say it, Caleb didn't specify, but it's social media. Social media is a big factor with Gen Z as to where the problem is because they doom scroll, they look at TikTok, and remember, it's algorithm driven, and what drives clicks more than anything in social media? Negativity, negative news, doom and gloom. That drives clicks. So Gen Zers will get algorithm capture, and so everything in their social media is doom and gloom. Where it's, what's the point? Why should I even bother? What's the point? That is a big fucking problem. That's a big problem in today. It's why, I do use Twitter. I try not to use it too much. I don't I try not to I try not to go posting too much on Twitter. I try not to go doom scrolling too much on Twitter. A lot of times I won't even do the normal feed. I'll just do who I'm following, just in case anybody that I'm following has posted something interesting. And a lot of times I will not do the regular feed that is algorithm driven versus who I'm following. Because the algorithm driven one is typically, like nowadays, when I've paged through it, it's all about basically the whole thing in the UK right now. And it's just talking about all the doom and gloom shit that's happening, like with New York and everything. It's depressing. So usually I'll just stick to my followers because 9 times out of 10, that's not doom and gloom. A lot of the people that I follow are artists who are posting some beautiful imagery that can get me that delicious little dopamine hit where I see a beautiful, beautiful piece of artwork that someone has crafted. Maybe it's got me in it. And it's like, I can get that little warmth, that little feeling of warmth in my heart that someone that enjoys what I do so much that they want to craft artwork of me. That is I'm getting the dopamine hit from that, but I'm not getting the doom and gloom. I'm getting a warm and fuzzy feeling instead of a poisonous pit in my stomach. But the social media is just remember, when it comes to social media, it is negative algorithm driven. Don't get algorithm capture to think that everything is horrible and that nothing is worth living for, because that's the way that these algorithms work.
You're so right about the unique blessing and curse that is consumer credit within the American marketplace. Nobody else gets credit like us. And the president had a great idea that lasted exactly 72 hours.
And by the way, however depressing, we can't ignore the reality of the world it is now. No, and I'm not saying to put the blinders on and ignore the reality of the world. That's not what I'm saying. I talk about the world today almost every stream. What I'm saying is don't immerse yourself in it 24 hours a day. Keep up to date on what is happening. Don't ignore what is happening in the world. Certainly not. But don't let it be all-consuming. Don't let that be every free moment of your life. Because I was at that point several years ago. Several years ago, to and from work, I'd be listening to news podcasts. When I get home, I'd be watching news broadcasts on YouTube. And it was all doom and gloom. And you know what? I ended up feeling horrible. I ended up getting this sick pit in my stomach that would not go away. And I felt like shit. I felt like absolute shit because I was constantly being inundated with negativity every free moment of the day. And then when I cut that out and I stopped listening to these news podcasts. I stopped constantly watching these news the news on YouTube and stuff like that. And I started feeling a little bit better because I was not constantly being inundated by this. It's the same thing with regular YouTube that's not news based. Like not watching, like I've told you guys before, like I when it comes to Knox, I like Knox as a content creator, but I can only take him in small doses. Why? Because generally speaking, Knox deals with some rather extreme news and it's all negative. It's all like angry. It's like stuff that will make you angry or furious. I like Kirsche because she can laugh about things. She not only does news, but she also like does stories that are just absolutely fucking hilarious, and she just laughs about it. And so she's enjoyable to watch because you're not constantly feeling the doom and gloom. You're feeling the levity with her when she's laughing about something that's just so stupid, even though it's current events. That's what I'm talking about. It's like you can't constantly immerse yourself in negativity because it will make you physically sick. And I don't want that to happen with anybody. You don't ignore what's happening in the world, but don't let it be the only thing that you look at. Sometimes, as corny and cliche as it sounds, sometimes you do have to just stop and smell the roses.
You remember when he said, you know, I'm going to call these banks. I'm going to cap these interest rates at 10%. I mean, this is crazy what they're doing with people. And 3 days later, Mike Johnson went to see him and he never mentioned it again because of the power of those people. How do you break down in your own understanding the influence of the systemic and macroeconomic influences versus the personal choices and responsibility?
Yeah, and that's always a hard topic to talk to these people about. Because on a personal level, I can have sympathy for a systemic issue. I really can. The cost of housing, that is hard. The cost of school, that is hard. But in the end, what that person is able to do is make their own actions and their choices in that moment.
Yes.
Changing a system takes votes and activism for a long time to change a small thing. I mean, Congress literally, as you're on air, just passed a housing reform bill. That's great. That is still small in the grand scheme of things. But what you can do right now...
Did they? I thought that there was something Congress was trying to pass that Trump said, I'm not going to do it unless you get like the save portions of the SAVE Act or something into it. Is that something completely different? Am I thinking of something completely different? Okay, we can look into that later. The America First Act, yeah. So was that what Congress was looking to pass? They passed it and he refused to sign it. It will auto pass after 10 days if he doesn't. Okay. Okay, so that is what I heard. Okay.
Is make the choices on your budget. I mean, that's why we created DollarWise to actually help the average American budget their money in a more effective way. That's why we made that budgeting app. They have that control. They have the control to save up an emergency fund. 40% of Americans don't have a $400 emergency fund. Over 60% of Americans last year faced an unexpected emergency. Those emergencies, on average, range from $1,000 to $2,000. If you just do the math on how much people have saved up, you realize it's not the interest rate of the credit cards that is hurting people. They didn't have anything saved up, and when an emergency popped up that was more than they had to go into credit card debt. And those credit cards just happen to have those high, average 22% interest rates across the board. We have personal choices and responsibility here that you can enact. The systemic things are hard. You can change those over time, but you can actually control what you do today, and that's what I advocate for.
I got to tell you something. I got a work crush on you, Caleb Hammer. I got a work crush on you. And I would love to have you back as we get into the midterm swing and we start hearing what people are pitching and who it's landing with and who it isn't. I'd love to have you in the mix on a regular basis whenever it works for you to kind of give your perspective on how this meets or does not meet the expectations of who you get to talk to every day.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it.
I celebrate your success, and I love how you're doing it. Caleb Hammer, everybody can find him on YouTube and online. He's everywhere, and I look forward to having you here more. Take care of yourself, and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was a good interview. That was a good interview. I like that. You know what? bravo to Chris Cuomo. He handled that well. He didn't try to gotcha him. He asked some just reasonable questions. Caleb obviously handled himself well. We know he can handle himself very well with the press. But you know what? Credit where it's due is Chris Cuomo just asked him straight questions and did not try to like catch him in a trap or gotcha him like that CNN reporter did. Full credit to him. It was a good interview. It was a good interview.